Sweet.
And now they all live in Columbus. Everybody moved down
Yeah.
south to
How
to
old is your
Columbus.
daughter-in-law?
She's, I think, 37.
Okay, yeah. She would have graduated long before I was there. So,
Exactly.
yes. But great, it's small world for sure.
It is.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing those goals. Those are fun. So, this here is a picture of your Cutco Dream Kitchen, Bob and Sue. And this is what most of my clients work toward. My happiest clients have a goal for themselves and their closest friends and family to own a complete set of Cutco knives, cookware, flatware, and accessories. And so
Mm,
this picture is a preview of what I'll get to share with you today. The purpose
mm,
of the dry erase clipboard that you may have noticed on the table, that's what I'm going to be using to take notes throughout on anything that you're interested in or just curious to know a price on. Because we
okay.
won't have time to do pricing in between every product or program. Since there are so many, what I've done is I've condensed it down into 3 or 4 commercials, and in between each commercial, I'll kind of share with you what what's your interest level. I'll ask you, and if you think it's high enough to where you want to know a price, I'll write it down as a reminder for myself to give you the pricing at the end. If you say that you're
Okay.
not, it's not a big deal. We'll just move on to the next commercial. Now,
Sounds
once
good.
you see the pricing, my top clients, they do everything on their list at once because they know it's the best way to save the most money in the long run. But what most
Mm,
clients do is they'll pick a component, start with that, and then build on it each time they see me. So everybody does it differently. But what I found is that people really just like to see what's new. And so my goal is to teach you about some things that you didn't know we have to offer, give you pricing on what works best for you, and then you can tell me if anything works or not. And what works, if anything. So
okay.
we'll go ahead and dive in here. My first commercial is going to be on the customer requested knives. Cutco has a really cool program called the Upgrade Program. If you like these customer requested knives that I'm going to show you, I can quote you what your upgrade would run. But it's a really cool thing where you can get credit for the knives you already bought 15 years ago towards a set, so you don't have to pay like the full 37. It's actually 36.79 that a full set of Cutco is worth now. And Cutco customers who own your set have been writing into the company over the years saying, this is what we like, this is what can be changed. And if Cutco receives enough feedback on a specific type of product, then what I found is that they'll actually create a product that aligns with the reviews of many customers. And so
Mm,
there are 11 knives and a fork that may or may not apply to you that I'm about to give you a commercial on. The first thing that customers wrote was that they noticed their paring knife works great for peeling, but they realized that sometimes when they try to cut an apple, mango, or pear, they have to cut around it instead of right through it because the paring knife is not long enough. And
mhm.
so we got a lot of feedback from clients asking for a longer paring knife. So that's what Cutco did, was they came out with a longer paring knife so you can split through a whole apple without having to go around it, or a mango or a pear.
Hmm.
Another common review was that the customers were noticing that the paring knife was the one that was going dull the fastest. And when Cutco received some of those letters and reviews, they actually wrote letters back. And we let customers know what I had informed you at the beginning is that if you'd like your paring knife to stay sharp longer, we recommend paring in the air. Now, get
Mhm.
this, some customers wrote back and said, we don't want to. And so Cutco created a knife so that you don't have to. The tip tapers down into the board instead of up into a point. And so with the traditional style paring knife in your set, when you cut on the board, the whole blade's exposed to the board. Usually what dulls the knife isn't the food, it's the surface you're cutting on. And since the whole blade touches, that's why they say pare in the air. With this guy,
Mhm.
imagine that you're slicing through, some customers, they just want to cut up their mushrooms or bananas or strawberries on the board. And so you can take this knife using the tip and dragging back through kind of like a pencil. And
Mm.
what you'll notice when you use it is that the tip is what's dragging on the board and the blade actually stays elevated up in an angle and only cuts the food. So it tricks the knife into thinking you're cutting in the air when you're really not. And so it's unique, it's different. Some have told me it's cute. I nicknamed it the Rebel paring knife for the Rebel customers. All right. Now, this is the raw meat knife. This was designed by Cutco for those clients that wrote to us and said when they try to cut up raw meat, they usually use what you had mentioned to be your favorites. And they
Mhm.
notice that it tends to pull and tug on that double D serrated edge. So it works, but not as well as it does on like tomatoes and citrus, which is great for a double D serrated edge. And so Cutco created one very much like it, but without teeth or without the double D edge. And so you'll notice here how much better it works. When they released the knife, one of my clients did a side-by-side test. The original knife in your set took 21 strokes. This new one took 2.
Mm.
And so it's literally 10 times easier for chicken, beef, lamb, and if you're ever chopping up, any kind of, if you need to cut the fat off of I don't know, if you have a smoker, whether you do or not, it's great just for simple raw
Mm.
meat or the fancy raw meat, all
Oh.
around things. The veggie knife here is fantastic. it's actually happens to be the single most sought after piece of Cutco right now. The reason why it's so sought after is because the inertia of the knife does almost all the work for you. And so the clients who have bought this from me tell me it's their favorite tool for leafy greens. And so if you
Mhm.
find yourself using spinach, kale, romaine, cabbage in your recipes, or chopping up any kind of herbs from the garden, like a rosemary, basil, a parsley, or a thyme, this knife is phenomenal. Some of my customers tell me it saves them time too, pun intended. And you can treat it like a paper cutter with your hand on it and keep your fingers out of the way, which is a nice safety feature. But
Mhm.
my personal favorite thing about it is the wide surface area that you can easily use to scoop and move those leafy
Mhm.
greens, you know, into a a bowl or whatever.
Mhm.
Another common review was that there is no knife in the original starter set long enough to cut through a melon. Many of our
Yeah.
clients say they try to use their chef knife, but they notice that it tends to get stuck in the middle of the melon as they push through, and then it doesn't work very well because it splits the melon open and feels unsafe.
Mhm.
And that's because a chef knife is not designed for that. There's a lot of metal there. It's really a rocker, not a you know wedge. And so
Yeah.
what Cutco did here is they're now offering this melon set, which is designed for melons. On the right, that is a 10-inch long slicer. It's the longest knife we make, and it slices a melon with a sawing motion in 3 swipes. That knife is even longer than your bread knife, just for reference.
Oh,
The one on the
wow.
left is the most flexible knife we make. It will bend to the shape of the rind and then scoop the fruit off the rind. It works phenomenally on fish as well. And so if you're catching the walleyes this summer, you can use it on that too. But it is
Huh.
a really handy tool.
Huh.
Now, I don't know if y'all have ever thought about, hey, I'd like to upgrade my Cutco set. Probably not, but you are a really good candidate for a program Cutco offers called the Upgrade Program. Now, the upgrade program was designed specifically for customers who already have one of our starter sets who like these new knives. The way it works is Cutco will give you credit for all your old knives towards the set that comes with your new knives in a package where you get to keep all your old knives. So we don't take anything from you. We only give you credit for what you own. And it only comes with the new knives, but also a storage holder that holds the old knives and the new knives in one place.
Hmm.
And this is because a lot of clients say, wow, I like a lot of these new knives, but I don't know where I would put them. My storage holder is full. And so
Mhm.
this takes into consideration what you have and basically what we've talked about and helps you get what we've talked about and then also the ones I'm going to finish here in a couple of minutes in a discounted fashion with the holder. And so that's something that I just wanted to let you know a little more detail about real quick there. The Hardy Slicer is the next one in the upgrade. And the reason people like it is because it works really well on hearty foods. That's frozen summer sausage there. And then that's a sweet potato and it cuts it like a hot knife through butter.
Hmm.
And so it's designed for those foods that you have to stretch beforehand and then go to rehab after trying to cut. You know, the ones that you feel you have to, that you might even break your knife trying to cut this. And so my one client was really excited about owning this because she said she wouldn't have to ask her husband for help for the rutabaga anymore. And so it separates frozen, stuck together hot dogs or hamburger patties with ease. You'll be able to slice your ribs into singles without ripping the meat, as you can see there. And
Hmm.
I've heard that if you sniff hard enough, you might even be able to smell those ribs as well.
It's not working.
I know, right?
I wish it did.
It'd be nice. And so it's just a nice, it looks like a chef knife. So some people get confused, but as soon as you
Mhm.
hold it, you'll know that it's much heftier because it's heavier and it's thicker and it's got the double the edge, the teeth. And so that's what makes
Hmm.
it different and helpful for those hearty foods. The sticky foods knife is phenomenal for any foods that might stick to the side of your blade. I use it to cut up cucumbers and zucchini yellow squash, but also potatoes. And so the holes are there, which prevent resistance. It's literally as easy as it looks when you're slicing through, but also prevents food from sticking. And so that's a really handy knife. The tip is nice for spreading softer goat cheeses onto crackers as well. Now, most of our customers, when they're cutting up their celery or bell peppers, they cut them into strips before they chop them up into little bits. And so Cutco wanted to accommodate those people with a knife that made it easier. And so they reshaped the chef knife just like they reshaped the paring knife with the square tip. And you can utilize the square tip chef knife as a pencil, and you can use that tip to drag back through. But then you can also use the back part of the knife as a chopper. And so for our customers who, cut celery, peppers, or onions, they do, appreciate having the versatility and the efficiency of this tool in their set. And I know I just like how it complements the vegetable knife and the traditional chef knife in the way that it does.
Hmm.
And then the scissors are phenomenal, which you have. So I'm actually going to skip those. Forgot you had those. They're on the table here, so I
Mhm.
brain farted there. The only other ones that would be available for you are these, which are considered the family function set. Okay, these round out the 11 knives and forks. So it's pretty simple. It's just this side of the table. Okay, family function set are designed to work better than an electric knife on anything that you might cut up during a family function: turkey, roast, ham, prime rib, tri-tip, flank steak, etc. Not something used every day, but when you do, it's much easier and better to have it not need it than when you need it and then you don't have it. And so that kind of rounds out your complete Cutco set. And like I said, a discounted fashion with the holder. And then one thing I also want to mention before I forget is that it does come with a care pack. Cutco redesigned the cutting boards about 10 years ago so that they are maximum efficiency for helping you take care of your knives. If you have never used a raised cutting board, they're phenomenal because you can slide a plate underneath, transfer food without picking the board up. The juice grooves are a great feature as well. And I have had some customers who send these boards back and get new ones for free. And so a lot of people will upgrade their set just because they know it comes with the boards, which are the last set of boards you'll ever have to own. The sharpener is nice to have so that you don't have to see me as often, which I know would break your hearts, but it is nice to be able to do some of this from home on your own.
I do have that sharpener.
Do
Or
you?
one like it.
Yeah. Is it the Cutco brand?
Yeah.
Nice. Great.
So that's for the straight edge blades or
You
the
got it. Yeah.
non-serrated blades.
Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. So I'll actually, you're able to get credit for that since you've already purchased it or that you own it.
And
So
I also have the Cutco fork.
Yes. We didn't send
I
up.
didn't send the fork.
got it. So you have a 3-prong fork. So let me
No, I think
differentiate.
it's we'll show
Oh,
it.
it is free.
Yeah, it's a 3-prong. Yep.
Yeah, so let me pivot and just differentiate for you. So Cutco's complete set actually comes with 2 forks. The small one, which comes in the starter set. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people confuse this with a meat fork, but it's not. So this is actually for turning and serving things when you're doing stir fry. I use it for getting pickles out of a jar, or if you have meat that you've already carved that you need to like pick up from one maybe serving plate and put it onto your own plate, the tines flare. And so it's designed to pick food up. Whereas these tines are the long ones that anchor the meat while you're carving. Okay?
Gotcha.
Yes. And so that's why there's they are similar when you kind of look at them from here, but after kind of getting the use explanation, and these do come with a pamphlet on what's for what and when to use what. And so basically when you upgrade, it's just these 12 items here, and then they come discounted with the table knives that I mentioned briefly earlier, and the new boards and the storage holder. And so if you like them, I can write down a note for myself to give you a quote. Do you like those?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Does that includes the veggie knife,
Absolutely, yes.
the melon knife?
Yeah, let me just go over them really quickly since you're
Mhm.
asking. So it would come with,
Yeah.
starting
Gotta
over
keep
here,
it on.
the melon set, the veggie, the raw meat, the rebel pairing, which might be good for you, Sue. The longer pairing, the hardy slicer, the sticky, the santoku, and the family function knives. And so basically it's once you get to like 4 or 5 like you had written down, then you need somewhere to put it. and so
Right.
this helps you get everything in a discounted fashion with the the storage holder and the cutting boards.
And so what you guys do is you then come up with some kind of a credit for the knives we currently do own,
yeah, and I'll show you what that credit is based on what you bought from your son. Yeah.
and then you get to actually keep those.
Yes.
We
yes.
keep the old knives and we get the new knives and a new
And then you
holder.
get the care package cutting boards.
Exactly. Yeah.
You would get the credit since I already have a sharpener.
Yep. Yeah, you're a great listener. Yeah.
Well, they always said I could sell an ice cube to an Eskimo.
Well, I'm just glad because most people they'll sometimes repeat back and it wasn't what I said, but you hit everything on the nail. So so you have a very good understanding of.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be interested in hearing the price. We're not saying for sure we would get it, but we'd
Sure.
be curious.
I'll quote it for you as we wrap up, and you can let me know what
Okay.
you think. I'm going to move right along here. So gadgets are always fun to look at. I don't know if you ever purchased any Cutco gadgets. Did you?
We have
Yeah.
I
Which
have
ones?
the potato peeler.
our veggie peeler.
Yeah, the veggie peeler. And That might just be it. I might have the pizza cutter. I'm not sure. I don't think so, though. I think just the veggie peeler.
So here's the cool thing about the scoop. It's got a point, so you can scoop seeds out of butternut squash and cantaloupes. Pretty awesome. So it's like a versatile scoop. Works good on ice cream too. The pizza wheel removes the blade is removable. So a lot of our clients, you can recognize whether you have it based on that because it's the only one that I've ever seen that does that.
Right.
And the can opener is guaranteed forever. Did you have a question?
Nope.
Okay. Most can openers don't even last 2 days, so that's a benefit in itself. And I had one customer joke that it's can-tastic, and so it's fun. The wine opener has a bottle opener for craft beer, and so it's like a 2-in-1,
Okay.
And so some people, they want to know what the package would run. They want to know one or two pricings. Some say we're good on the slide. I'm just writing on your behalf. What would you like me to put down from what we just talked about?
From this, probably nothing. I never thought of using an ice cream scoop to scoop out seeds, but that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does, and it
You know, I
all
never
depends
thought of
on.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it depends on how it's built, right? So the Cutco one, it's built with a point, and so
Huh.
it's shaped specifically with that in mind. Some of them are just totally round, and so it would be awkward.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But
this is
really,
kind of
other
like a
than that, nothing.
cool.
Nothing that we would have to have.
No problem, no problem. So now I'm going to move on. This is like Cutco's best kept secret. Most people have never seen the Cutco flatware, even though they've been Cutco owners for all these years. Have you seen it before?
No.
We talk to a lot of customers who have 3 sets of flatware. They have their wedding set, they have their inherited set, and they have their department store set. And sometimes they're up to their ears in flatware, yet they still are looking for a set because they want to purge everything and downsize to that one set, kind of like when you got your first set of Cutco knives.
Sure.
And so I don't really have any videos for the flatware, but I can share with you 5 fun facts. Number one, they're USA made, just like all the knives. And so that's a huge benefit.
Yes.
Number two, they are an 1810 surgical stainless, which is the highest grade, considered to be one of the highest grade steels for flatware on the market. Number three, they're guaranteed forever. Hopefully, you never have to use the guarantee. I had one customer a few years ago drop a spoon in the garbage disposal. She sent it back. She got lucky, and Cutco sent her a new one. And
Wow.
that was the spoon, not the garbage disposal, but a great testimony to the kind of company that Cutco is. And when she got that new one, it was the same design. Too often, companies change their designs, and they know that you'll be forced to buy a whole kit because you can't get matching replacements. And so Cutco's had the same diamond shaped design for over 40 years. They're weighted well. You can put a spoon or a fork on your finger and it doesn't teeter totter. That's how well balanced they are. And then finally, you can pass them down because they'll always retain their quality and usability. Unlike most flatware that gets passed down, it's in the basement. It's high quality but low usability because you got to polish it. And so, any
Right.
interest in this? If so, I'll write it down. But if not, no
No.
worries.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Cool, sweet. Moving along. So did any of your adult children purchase Cutco from your son or later on in life?
Well, we only have the one son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't realize you
Well,
only had.
yeah, we each have one, but
Okay.
no, my son did not at the time.
Mm-hmm. Because he was just a kid. He was in college too.
Yeah, he was in college at the same time. So
Sure. I'll share a funny story.
we have
What was
one
that?
boy that we each just have one boy that
Right.
are about 6 years apart.
So funny story. I got a buddy in New York City that went to attempt to do a sharpening appointment for a woman who received a complete set of Cutco from her parents in 1962.
Uh,
And now her parents paid $93 for it back then. When Jeffrey attempted to sharpen them, he couldn't because she waited 50 years for her first sharpening. And
well, I've
although,
waited pretty long for mine.
yeah, but we could at least save most of your set. He couldn't even save any of them, so they all had to be returned, all of them. And
Yeah.
even though that set, like I said, is now $36.79, the company replaced everything for the cost of shipping. She said it was one of the greatest gifts she ever received twice because she used it
Mhm.
daily.
Yeah.
A lot of my customers in Ohio have given Cutco as well. Gail was the first one. I went to see her during my practice appointments, and she had already owned Cutco for 20 years. And she said, "I'd like to get a set for my son. He's building a home." And so she got him the basic set to get him started. 2 years later, she called me up and said, "I'd like to get the same set for my oldest daughter." But in those 2 years, from 13 to 15, the price of the set went up by 80 bucks. And so Gail decided to buy 3 sets for all 3 daughters, even though the younger 2 were still in middle school. She said,
Oh,
"I've
wow.
already decided I'm gifting it to him. I'd rather pay the 2015 price and not the 2025 price." And so,
Yeah.
you know, if that was something that you thought would be cool, then I can give you a quote on it. If you were still in the home business, I would recommend you do what Ryan did. Ryan bought Cutco. He bought 30 knives for all 30 of his employees, and then his top 20% of customers as well. And so it's just a great practical gift as opposed to, you know,
Well,
gift
that's a
card
very
or
thoughtful gift.
cash.
Hmm.
Yeah. Does this intrigue you? Would you want to know what a set similar to yours would run nowadays for a gift, or what do you think?
No,
Okay.
no.
Only if Tim Christian was paying for it.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, get Tim on the line. I have a feeling he might say no.
Yeah, he would like that.
Yeah. So we'll pass on that. And
Tell him
lastly,
he could use all the money he wins from me in golf.
yeah, pay it forward, right? So I have two last things to cover with you before we wrap it up. Are you happy with your pots and pans right now, or would you consider investing in Cutco pots and pans?
I didn't know they made pots and pans, but we really are happy with the set we have.
And what's your
In fact,
preferred
I
brand?
just invested in a cast iron, my first cast iron skillet.
Skillet, yeah.
Nice, cool. Yeah, like you said, you didn't know. A lot of people think of Cutco, they think knives. But
Exactly. I had no clue that they
yeah,
made, this. Huh.
yeah, they are the most loved product out of all the products that we offer. For people that
Wow.
own the knives and then they get the pots and pans, usually they tell me the pots and pans are their favorites. So they
Hmm.
are the most expensive product that we make, but
Mhm,
people have told me they're easy to use, easy to clean, and a product that
mhm.
many customers will tell you have changed their lives. One customer joked that having Cutco pots and pans are like having a smartphone when your whole life you've had a flip phone. And so
Wonderful.
that next time that you're looking for pots and pans, and if you find that you're buying them, you know, every few years, then, you know, I'd be happy to share with you a 10-minute demo or so on Cutco because they would be the last
Okay,
set you'll ever have to own.
absolutely.
Cool. All right. I think that's it. Do y'all have a flower or vegetable garden? These are just miscellaneous things. I don't know if
Um,
you would be interested in knowing a quote on a garden set. They're pretty
We do have a,
durable.
I've got the shears,
Garden shears,
the
yeah.
one that kind of ratchets, you
this
squeeze
one,
it once.
pruners.
Well,
Mhm.
but the pruner doesn't look like that. It's got
Oh.
the
Yeah,
flat
the
bottom edge with
right.
the,
I know exactly what you're talking about. They redesigned them about 10 years ago, and so that makes
Um,
sense.
and it still works great. I mean, it's the only thing that gets through some of my thicker branches.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's Cutco.
But we're
Doesn't
kind
surprise
of
me.
in one of those communities where,
Condos, yeah.
well, no, these are
No.
single family, but they do everything here.
Yeah, they cut
Mhm.
the grass and
They
weed.
prune all the shrubs down, they remulch, they edge, they cut the grass. I mean, this is total retirement.
Yeah, you've graduated from all those chores. Congratulations. I could feel the productivity coming through your voice as you were talking about everything that they did. It's great. This gives more time for golf. Wonderful.
Yeah, that's right. Golf and fishing and pickleball, you got it.
Do you have anyone close to you that you would spend $100 on that you might want to gift a Cutco fillet knife to?
Not really.
Okay. Or pocket
No,
knife
my
or anything
Son's a
like that?
vegetarian,
Yeah,
so-
my son's vegetarian and
Okay. All right. Well, that's it. How did I do?
You did fabulous.
you know your
Thank you.
product.
And you
Thank
kept
you.
it interesting and, you're wonderful. I hope you go to win that trip to Australia.
I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for listening. Now, just curious, when you saw the the message or post from Tim, did you see it on online or did he
I was on Facebook.
on Facebook? Yeah.
Yep.
Would you, if I sent that to you, would you be open to paying it forward and posting it again so that anybody in your network who might benefit from this can
Sure.
sign up on,
Yeah, I had
Okay.
made a note. How do you post that on Facebook?
Yeah.
that is what I am here for to help you with here. Do you have your phone nearby?